Hey, Hawk here. Let's talk about that pulsing dance music pad sound that you hear so often and how it's created with sidechaining. Take a listen to the sound first. I want to talk about specifically how to build it in Reason and still have that sidechained pulsing sound without actually having the kick drum running. So when you drop the kick drum out, you still get that sound. Let's take a listen to this with the kick drum in, and then I'll drop the kick drum out. Go to the kick drum. So you see, we still have that pulsing sound, even though the kick drum drops out, which means I'm doing something else with the sidechaining. Let's build it. So in this particular case, I am going to put it into a combinator. Usually how I build my instruments is by dropping them in a combi. So let's start with that. And I'll scoot it over to this side of the rack to make it easier to see. And I generally like to drop in a mixer of some sort so that I can combine sounds in the combinator. So we'll start with line mixer for this one. That's pretty easy to work with. Click in there, make sure we've got the combinator selected. Line mixer 6x2. And I usually like to add some sort of parallel effect, such as a phaser or chorus or doubler. For today, I think I'll put a phaser on it. Lets me add a little bit more texture to whatever sound I happen to be building. Phaser. And I'll scoot that up to the top of the rack here. And I think for the basic pad here, I'm going to use a Thor. There's the Thor. And I already know ahead of time what patch I want to use for this one. You could experiment with any of the pads in here once you get it built, but for this one, I'm going to go ahead and grab this analog pad here. And now I'm going to flip the rack over here. I'm going to take advantage of the auto routing in Reason, and I'm going to insert a compressor, an M-class compressor. I'm going to select that 6x2 line mixer and go up here and create an M-class compressor, and it should auto-route it in for me. I want it actually on the output of the line mixer directly back through the combinator. And there it is. Let's scoot that up to the top of the rack as well. Now comes a really cool part. In order to keep this running all the time and take advantage of this sidechain compression, I'm going to create a redrum instrument. I'll flip this redrum over here. I'm going to go ahead and initialize this redrum patch here because I don't need all the other sounds in it. And I'm going to load in one kick drum. Bass drums, I usually like to use the Arena kick drum in the Kong samples. It's a good one. It's nice and tight and punchy. And we'll flip this over here. Can't hear anything because I don't have it plugged in. And we don't actually need to hear it because we know what it is. And I'm going to take the output of this kick drum and plug it right into my sidechain input right there. And I'm going to program a 4 on the floor pattern. 1, beat 2, 3, and 4. There we go. Now watch this. When I press play here, you're going to see the compressor start working. There it is. And that's how I create that sound. So whenever this is in play, whenever the sequencer is in play, that sound is working. And let's take a listen to that. Play a chord here. And I'll play a chord and then turn it on. Oh, that's one thing I always got to remember to do in here. I always forget to do this. You notice I'm playing this chord and all these things are muting up here. That's because redrum is mapped across the whole keyboard right now, so it's getting controller messages from my keyboard. I don't want that. So I open up the programmer here, and there's my redrum key range, and I'll need to fix that redirem key range here. So you take this and just slam it all the way up here on the left-hand side so it's not getting any keys. And then I'm done with the programmer. Close it. Now when I press that chord, it's not going to do anything. All right. And now when I press the chord and press play here, I can start playing with how much compression I want. You can already hear it kicking in. So I want a pretty high compression ratio, and I really want to be knocking this hard. It's getting more dramatic there. I don't want the release up too far. You know, these are things that you can set according to your mix. And I often like the tack really sharp so it's really letting the kick drum breathe through, but you can set it however you like there. So, and this particular analog pad has this great filter effect on the mod wheel. You want to add a little more action in here. You can turn up the send here to that little phaser effect. Because remember now, because I have it on the actual output of the mixer, it's going to be pulsing, downward compressing that phaser effect as well. So that's how you do it. Make it happen, and you can save this patch and be able to open it up in any other of your song files. And I'll go ahead and post this patch up here somewhere for you so you can listen to that.